Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome to my YouTube channel. I am the real Cass Perry, and today I'm going to be completely honest. This is a topic that has kind of peeved me off quite a bit. So I do want to start off this video by immediately stating that I truly think that every single person on this earth deserves equal human rights unless you're hurting kids, in which case you absolutely need to be burned at the pyre like the piece of absolute crap monster that you are. I also think that because everybody deserves absolute equal rights, we also deserve the right to have our own individual spaces. And I also 100% fully believe in trans people having rights. They should absolutely have the right to have full access to most female spaces. They absolutely should have the right to have access to any and all of the medical procedures that they would like to have done. They should absolutely have access to be able to play sports. They should have access to be able to go and connect with other women in women's spaces. However, there are specific women's spaces that are mainly just for biological women. I have absolutely nothing against anybody, and I have absolutely nothing against anybody having their rights to do as they please and be who they are and feel as they please. And I have absolutely no problem with most trans people going into bathrooms or change rooms with me, because a lot of the time, most trans people are extremely respectful of the people who are of the gender that they are transitioning to. There are a very select few who I like to call the loud minority of the trans community that are very disrespectful of other women to a point where it actually starts to affect every woman globally, and or every woman in the specific area that they are in. Now, this is something that is going on in Australia. So, the specific topic that we are talking about today is the tickle versus giggle case, which is, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't even know. I'm also going to be very honest about this. I am not I got the idea to do this video from Isaac Butterfield because I am extremely unoriginal, and you should definitely go watch his video because he's a lot better at explaining things than I am. He's good dude. He's a good comedian. He's very funny. Seems like a very nice guy. You guys should go check out his stuff. This specific woman, Miss Roxanne Giggle, I don't really know how to personally think or feel about this case because, yeah, Roxanne Tickle, not Roxanne Giggle. Giggle is the. Okay, it's weird that it's Tickle versus Giggle, okay? Just first off, Tickle versus Giggle? Okay, honey. That sounds like a weird, creepy, kinky porn, but whatever. Anyway, there is an app called Giggle. And Giggle was supposed to be an app that was made by a woman for women, and it was supposed to be a female only space, a biological female only space, where women can go to talk about female anatomy issues, or your period, or ovarian cancer. Literally, female medical issues are discussed by both adults and young ladies alike on this app. So it doesn't make sense to me personally that a trans woman would want to be in a space where people are constantly talking about their periods, and there are definitely going to be young girls on there talking about their female anatomy and medical stuff. Like, it's, and I mean, I 100% completely understand wanting to learn, and there aren't a whole lot of studies that have been done on the human body. So I can see it from that aspect. This wonderful trans woman thought that this app was going to be the best place to be able to do that because of the fact that there is not a whole lot of studies done on the female body. But there's also the fact that, historically speaking, there have always been men's only clubs. Men have always had their own spaces separate from women. So, why exactly is it all of a sudden a huge issue that trans women absolutely need to invade female spaces where we want to have just cisgender women? And I'm going to be completely honest, I am not very fond of being called a cisgender woman. Yeah, I am going to be completely honest, I am not very fond of being called a cisgender woman. I don't really like hearing it. It feels weird to me. So this all started because Roxanne Tickle, who is a transgender woman from New South Wales, alleged that Giggle for Girls and its founder Sally Grover removed her from the social media platform as they considered her to be male. Well, biologically, she is male. She is a transgender female, however, biologically, she is male, and this is a female space that was created specifically so that women don't have to interact with biological men in any way, shape, or form. So, the whole point, as far as I am aware, of the whole point, as far as I am aware, of Sally Grover's app Giggle was to have a biologically female only specific space just for women on the internet, where only biological or natal women are going to congregate so that we have an extremely safe space to talk about things that doesn't have any kind of a male point of view behind it in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. It does kind of seem wrong to discriminate based on sexuality or gender identity. However, there should also be a safe cisgender woman only area that we are allowed to have just for us. Because men are allowed to have cisgender only male areas that are just for them. Why are we not afforded that same luxury? And I'm going to be completely honest, this is probably the first time in so long that I have actually been pissed off about a feminist issue, because I am extremely anti feminist. I am so far into the men's rights thing. Like, men don't have any rights as it is. Or, sorry, cisgender men apparently only are the ones that don't. Cisgender people don't have any rights apparently anymore. But cisgender men have so many fewer rights than women in general. And then there are the loud minority of the transgender group that are trying to take away the rights of biological females to have a biological female only space. That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense in any way, shape, or form. So I'm going to read a bit from the articles, and I'm going to give you my opinions I don't really know what to say about this because I am absolutely flabbergasted that this is happening in the first place, to be completely honest. But I'm also flabbergasted that this is an issue if, in general, in any way, shape, or form, if this is actually a trans woman and not just some kind of freak show freaking predator 60-year-old dude who just wants to go run around and be in a female space so that they can listen to women talk about women's stuff and go hang out. And oh yeah, I didn't even get into the fact that this trans 60 looks about 60 years old. I don't actually know how old that this person is. This 60-year-old transgender woman is who has only been trans as far as we like, they've only been out as trans and in their transition for a couple of years at 60 years old. 4 years, you've only been transitioning for like between 4 and 7 years, and you look like you're in your 60s. um I don't know how to tell you this, but if you are at that age and you had not started your transition beforehand, it has been acceptable in society to be a trans person for a very long time. So like, trans people have been able to transition and had the right to transition, and nobody has gotten upset with them for transitioning in quite a long time. And the people who are around you, who love you, who actually love you, aren't going to get upset with you for showing that you have gender dysphoria and being yourself and actually trying to be a happy, normal person. The people who love you are not going to have a problem with that. People who care about you are not going to have a problem with that. So, why would somebody wait until they look like they're in their 60s? Why would this person wait until they are an old man to start transitioning into a woman? Because that is my question. This is the very question that makes me think that this person is only doing all of this because they could be a predator. I am not sure. I could be completely incorrect. I'm going to say allegedly because I am possibly very incorrect. But the activities, the actions, the way that everything is happening, the way that everything is being portrayed, it's not giving me real actually really fighting for trans issues. If you were actually really fighting for trans issues, none of this shit would be going on. I'm just saying. But a female only app discriminated against a transgender woman by removing her from the platform. An Australian court has ruled in a landmark case. The Federal Court of Australia has found on Friday that Roxanne Tickle, a transgender woman from New South Wales, was subjected to an indirect gender discrimination when she was blocked from the social media network platform Giggle for Girls in 2021. It's 2024, so it has been a couple of years now. She sued the platform and its founder, Sally Grover, in 2022 for unlawful gender identity discrimination in its services and claimed Miss Grover revoked her account after seeing her photo and considered her to be male. Well, I don't know what to say about that except for, okay, so you do not have to pass as a woman to be considered a woman, but at the same time, if this person had been accepted into the platform and then all of a sudden had their access to their account revoked, what were they doing on the platform right before they got it revoked? as soon as they got accepted? What were they going in and looking at? What were they going in and commenting? What were they saying? That's my question. I sincerely want to know this. Um, so she had sued the platform and its founder, Sally Grover, in 2022 for unlawful gender identity discrimination in its services and claimed that Miss Grover revoked her account after seeing a photo of her and considered her male. Judge Robert Broomwich said in his ruling that while Miss Tickle was not directly discriminated against, her claim of indirect discrimination was successful as using the Giggle app required her to have the appearance of a cisgender woman. But the thing is, the app is for cisgender women, as they're calling us. So why does this person feel like they absolutely need access to an app that is made for specifically cisgender women? So, what was I talking about again? So, he ruled that Giggle for Girls and Miss Grover must pay Miss Tickle $10,000, so €5,142 in general compensation in addition to her costs. He did not rule in favor of Miss Tickle's claim for an apology because it is futile and inappropriate to require an inevitably insincere apology to be made. Which, honestly, I mean, I don't understand why this woman is demanding an apology because at the end of the day, the app is made for cisgender women. So, why would you need an apology for not being accepted to an app that's made for specifically cisgender women as a trans person? And once again, I understand that that the app itself does not clarify that it's made for cisgender women, but we shouldn't have to call ourselves cisgender women. We should be allowed to just say women. And I'm sorry, but there is a huge difference between women and trans women. And as much as I wish that there was not, biologically, there is a difference. So that's why we clarified trans women instead of just saying women. At least that's how I see it. It's not coming from a place of hate in any way, shape, or form. It is coming from a place of we shouldn't have to relabel ourselves. We should not have to relabel what a woman is just to make anyone happy. We should be allowed to just call ourselves women. Because the majority of women are what the loud minority of trans women are calling cisgender women. No, the majority of the female species is cisgender women, as you're calling us. So, no, it is just woman. The minority of the female species is transgender women. Therefore, we should only be clarifying transgender women. Women are just women. Transgender women are trans women, but we will just call them girls and chicks, or honestly, I call everybody dude anyway. I literally have a weird habit. It does not matter what your gender is or what your gender identity is, I am going to call you dude. I'm going to call you bro. I'm going to say, oh, god damn, girl, what is wrong with you? I say that to guys on a regular basis. I say that to girls on a regular basis. I call girls dude. I call girls bro. I call guys sis. I call guys girl. I call guys dude. I call guys bro. I literally mix all that shit up in general to begin with. I am not adding more to that, okay? Like, I'm just gonna go with whatever. And it's not coming from a place of hate. I am trying to be myself and still be your friend and be a good friend. And I will always try my hardest to be polite. I will always be polite to somebody. If somebody says, like, if somebody comes up to me and lets me know, like, hey, I'm a, like, it doesn't, you don't even really have to let me know. And if you're a nice person and you act kind to me and you are very, very sweet and personable and very nice to me and everybody around me and nice to everyone around you, I'm not going to have an issue with you. Nobody's going to have an issue with you. And I also have absolutely no issue with trans. I probably already said this, but I have no issue with trans women being in the bathroom with me. I have no issue with trans women being in the change room with me. What I have the issue with when it comes to the bathrooms and change rooms is the people who aren't actually trans, who are trying to use it as a shield and being weird and freaky about it. And that is from my personal experience. That it has absolutely nothing to do with anybody else. That has to do with my personal experience with people. That has to do with my experiences through life and the way that I see the world. So, I haven't talked about this before, but I do have a trans sibling, or they say that they're trans, they're not actually trans. I have met a lot of very kind, sweet, wonderful trans people who are actually trans, who don't act like my sibling, who are nothing like them. And I also have a non binary cousin who is absolute best friends with my creepy sibling. And the two of them have put me through some weird stuff. Like, when I was 12 years old, they broke into the bathroom while I was in the shower and and literally, like, scared the shit out of me to a point where I ripped down the shower curtain trying to wrap myself up because they were videotaping me. There should not ever be any circumstances in which any singular human being who actually thinks that that has ever been acceptable behavior to exhibit should be in any female restroom, should be in any female spaces whatsoever. I am probably going to talk a bit about my experiences a little bit through this, just because I have quite a few of them. I'm going to be completely honest. I am a extremely traumatized individual because of this specific topic. This specific type of topic actually has traumatized me through my life. It has affected me so many different ways, so many different times, that it actually makes me very upset. And it has affected people who I know in a couple of different ways, a few different times. Like, there are people who actually think because the first trans person that they met was my creepy sibling, that all trans people are like that. And then they've met quite a while after my friends who are also trans, and they automatically think that they're going to be just like them. And no, 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 that is not how it works. there are good people and bad people in every single group of people. If you are a bad person, I absolutely despise all bad people equally. I have a huge soft spot and so much love for all good people equally as well. So, I don't know. It just seems to me that this whole thing that's going on in Australia is probably going to cause a lot of issues because the case marked the first time in federal court Australia's second highest made a ruling on gender identity discrimination since the charges were made to the Sex Discrimination Act in 2013, which introduced new protections for sexual orientation, gender identity, and intersex status. Miss Tickle said that the verdict was healing and was quoted saying outside the court, "There is so much hate and bile cast on transgender and diverse people simply because of who we are." And that is true. That is true in some cases, but that is very far and few between when it comes to actual caring human beings. Most people have no hate for the trans community. Most people have no hate for the trans community. We actually support them. We don't care what they do for the most part. But this statement was also very hurtful to the general female population because this means so basically the new legislation that they made because of this case is that any female who says that they are a female is automatically considered a female. It doesn't matter if you've actually put the work in to be a female. As soon as you say I'm a woman, you have to be considered a woman and let into female spaces. And you're allowed to say or do whatever you want, basically. And nobody's allowed to say or do anything about it. You can literally just be a dude walking into a female change room. You can just be a dude going into an all female space and just sit there and be creepy and stare at everybody and watch everything that's happening. And nobody's allowed to freaking say anything as soon as you say, "Oh, I'm a girl." And that's what's happening in Australia right now. Unless I am completely misunderstanding the laws. But if I am not misunderstanding any of this, that means that they're taking away the rights of women in Australia more than they have in any point in time before. Women already are not allowed to defend themselves if they are attacked. They are not allowed to use self-defense weapons. They are not allowed to hit someone back. So why the hell would they take away more rights for women in Australia? This is a huge loss for the female species in general in that area. They have taken away our right to female only spaces. And not only that, but this specific. Oh, this is the thing that's actually pissing me off more than anything. I'm going to be completely honest because women's sports is something that is sacred to me. I. So, I've never said this in any of my videos, but I used to play sports. I used to love soccer. I used to love basketball. I used to love going and playing sports and being an athlete and being active, and I don't really know why I stopped enjoying it. I think it's because I have no fucking friends, but you know what? This sincerely bothers me as somebody who has played sports as a female, as somebody who has had the absolute shit beaten out of them by their trans sibling just because and had deemed acceptable by every single person in their life, and was told by their parents that it's not okay for you to call the cops on them because it's okay because they're a girl, or they say that they're a girl, when they're literally growing a beard every day and have not ever been on a single freaking hormone and are constantly running around stealing children's panties and are treating their sister like some kind of, I don't know. So my sibling has always treated me as if they own me, as if I am their property. I have been in so many different ways weirdly abused by my sibling. I have had the shit beaten out of me because I didn't want to drink with them. I have literally been had the absolute crap beat out of me by them my entire life. And because my mother's a boy mom, it was deemed absolutely acceptable for him to do that. And then as soon as they came out as trans and decided that they're a woman now, it's even more acceptable for them to abuse their little sister, to literally beat the crap out of their autistic sister on a regular basis just because I don't want to be around them, or because I went and made new friends, or because I went and did something without them, or because somebody said I did something when I wasn't anywhere near that place, and all of a sudden it's a good thing for them to literally try to knock my teeth out. My two front teeth are still loose. I still cannot actually bite anything with these two teeth because I'm terrified that they are going to fall out one day. I am absolutely amazed by the fact that they have not gone black. They're still loose. It has been 3 years and those teeth are still loose. It's been 3 years since the last time I literally was beaten bloody by this person, by my sibling, to a point where I literally had a broken nose, loose teeth, and had to run across town to go get somebody to help me, because if I were to ever call the police on them, I would be disowned by most of my family. That's freaking ridiculous. So, the fact that this 60-year-old person who has, as far as, like, they don't even look like they are on hormones, starts playing field hockey with little girls who are a quarter of their size, who are in their first years and seniors, and shake hands with each other and say good game. That's not only weird, but it's creepy. So this person is playing field hockey against young teenage girls. That, in my opinion, if you are a full grown person who absolutely knows that you are a biological man, you are biologically male, you have testosterone, you have larger muscles, you have been a male by the looks of it for over 60 freaking years before you started transitioning. You have all the male hormones, you have all the male muscles, you have all of the male anatomy still, and you want to go get into an extremely physical, high contact sport, a high speed contact sport with little girls, knowing that are 1/4 of your size, as a large sized 60-year-old dude, you are literally running around on a field hockey field taking out little girls and thinking that it's acceptable because you love field hockey. Go play on the men's team. Start a trans team. Do something. And you know what? I wouldn't even care that much if they were playing against women who are their own age. I would not give a shit. But this is a full-grown person who is so much bigger than these kids playing field hockey against little kids. Either take all the big players off of the field before these little girls go on and put all your small players in, forfeit the freaking game. Like, do it by weights class when you're putting in your waves for your benching and unbenching, or forfeit the game. If there is not the ability to sort out your players by weight class for who's going to play against what other players on the team, because there is such a huge size difference between some of your players and some of their players, then those teeny tiny people should not be on the field with those giants. I hate to say it, but it shouldn't happen that way. Like, I am all for trans people being able to play sports. I am perfectly fine with trans women playing women's sports in specific sports. It's perfectly fine for trans women to play basketball. It's perfectly fine for trans women to play baseball. It is perfectly fine for trans women to play non contact sports with other women, including young girls. It is okay for trans women to play contact sports with other women, excluding, not including, young girls. Because those little girls are not strong enough to actually handle getting hit by a large-sized person yet. They are young teenagers. They think they're tough, but they're not tough. I know. I used to be one. It wasn't that long ago. I wish it was that long ago. I look like I'm like in my early 40s. I'm 25, guys. I know you're probably not going to believe me because I look old as shit, but I am 25. I've had a hard ass life, okay? Don't don't get me started. Um but the fact of the matter is, if you are going to be a large-sized dude playing with little girls on the field hockey team, then you should not be on the field hockey team. You should go and start your own field hockey team for trans people. Start your own team that start your own little league for people who have no issue. Like, start a mixed gender field hockey league. If you really feel that strongly about it, either start a mixed gender field hockey league or start a transgender field hockey league, start a transgender football league, start transgender soccer, start transgender wrestling, transgender boxing, because guess what? It is not fair. And you know what? There is also the thing about that boxer who, like, came out. Everybody's, like, getting after because they all think that she's trans. She's not trans. She just has a large amount of testosterone, which can be caused by so many different medical issues in women. But she absolutely deserves her spot in the boxing ring. She 100% does. But she should also be fighting men. I'm sorry, but she really should, because she is so much stronger than any woman alive, and it has to do with her hormones. And it has to do with the amount of hormones that she has had her entire life. And that has to do with her medical conditions. And that's not anybody's fault. That's not her fault. But we have to try to figure out ways to make things fair and still maintain human rights. And what is happening in Australia is not fair. It is not human rights. It is complete malarkey and hateful towards women. That's what this is. It's hatred towards women. And as much as I wish that I didn't have to say that, I wish that I could advocate for this person in their rights, and because it and I should be. I really should be, because this is most likely a very sweet person who just had their feelings hurt very badly, who is just trying to live their best life and doesn't understand that some of the things that they are doing aren't okay. Like going onto a hockey field just to fight little girls. That's what it seems like. I'm not saying that's what they're doing. They could just really, really love field hockey and aren't comfortable playing with men. But you know what? The way that I'm seeing it, the fact that they are playing in a league that plays against young girls makes me think that this person just wants to go beat up little girls, because that is exactly what my sibling would have done. You know, kind of like how they. I'm not even going to get into this. If anybody wants to hear more stories about that, then by all means let me know. I've probably just been ranting this entire thing. I don't even know if I've made any kind of a point except for I'm not okay with this. I fully believe in trans rights. I have no hatred towards trans people. I think that trans people should have more rights and they should have more opportunities for them specifically. But I also think that women should be biological cisgender women should be allowed to have our own spaces. We should be allowed to play sports without being terrified as a little teenager that we're going to get hurt by this giant man. Or, sorry, this giant trans woman. This big, beautiful trans woman. I'm trying so hard to be respectful right now, but I can't. It makes me upset that the Australian government is actually making a statement that absolutely anybody can just say that they're a woman and be a woman. Because that is not the definition of being a girl. That is not the definition of being a woman. It's just like Dylan Mulvaney and her whole, oh, if you want, the days of girlhood were bimbos. That's the whole thing with Dylan Mulvaney. He sincerely thinks that being a girl is just being a freaky freaking bimbo. So, I don't know. I'm just. And like I say, there are so many trans people in my life who I do care for, who I love, who I would absolutely never feel this way about, who I would be absolutely comfortable with having in a woman's change room, who I would totally be fine with going into women's spaces, but that's because they're going to be respectful and I know them and I know that they're going to be okay. This person is not showing any respect towards women whatsoever. And it kind of makes me sick. And it's at a point where the Australian government is not showing any respect towards women whatsoever, and that makes me even more sick. Why is it that they have to restart women's suffrage in fricking Australia of all places? Aren't they supposed to be progressive? I'm sorry. I can't stand that the world has gotten to a point where we have progressed so much that everybody wants to regress and go back into the past and take away everyone's rights. It's just disgusting and it's gross, and I don't know what to say about it. Now, our next topic for today, just because I feel like being a little bit of a bitch. So, the Donald Trump shooting. Everybody was so up in ends about the Donald Trump shooting, but nobody was up in ends about it for the right reasons. Everybody was so pissed off that they missed. But you know what? I wasn't pissed off that they missed. I was actually relieved personally. And I am absolutely freaking disgusted by all of the people who were hoping that that man would die. And it's not because I'm a Trump supporter. I actually don't like a lot of his political stances. What I think about the matter is, when it comes to that specific topic, nobody should ever be excited or happy that somebody almost got assassinated. Nobody should be disappointed that somebody didn't die. At the end of the day, that man is still somebody's father. That man is still somebody's husband. That man is still somebody's child. And everybody was so freaking pissed off that the shooter missed. You're disgusting. You are disgusting human beings to actually wish death upon someone. Anybody who is actually wishing death upon anybody, it doesn't matter what the gosh darn reason is, you're a disgusting human being. You really are. What do you think anybody in any of the generations before you who took care of you when you were younger would have freaking said if they found out that you were out here wishing death upon the President of the United States. We are supposed to be better than the people of the past. We are supposed to have learned from the mistakes of the past. We are supposed to be living in a better world where things like that don't freaking happen. Yet, everybody's so pissed off that the shooter missed. And my condolences to the shooter's family because I feel bad about that person who I feel bad that he passed away. I also my condolences to the families of the person who was in the crowd who passed on. And that's a horrible situation. People died. And everybody's so upset that the freaking former president didn't. It doesn't matter how much you dislike someone, you should not ever wish death upon anyone. That is low, that is disgusting, that is gross. And if you are going to do that, you are an absolute disgusting monster of a human being who absolutely needs to be stopped. The only people who deserve to have death wished upon them are pedophiles. And that is because they're disgusting, horrible human beings who hurt kids. They hurt children before they even get a chance to be kids, before they even get a chance to start growing up. They traumatize and destroy little girls and boys' entire beings and lives. They're the only people on earth who actually deserve any amount of hate. They're the only people on earth who deserve true hatred. Yet you're throwing that at Trump? Trump, of all fucking people, the man can't pull his head out of his own ass. Donald Trump is the stupidest motherfucker alive. And y'all are throwing that kind of hate at him? He doesn't even fucking matter. Don't throw that kind of hate as somebody who isn't actually affecting anything, because I'm sorry, but nothing that Trump ever wanted to put into place actually got put into place anyway, so why is everybody so fucking pissed at him? Sure, he's an idiot. He has weird worldviews. He has absolutely no content of character. But you don't wish him death. He's not a good person, but you don't wish him dead. That's messed up. That's extremely messed up. And I feel so bad. If anything had actually happened to him, I would feel just as bad for his family as I do for the families of the people who did pass on in that situation. And everybody who has the opposite thought in their brain is a sick fuck. Because it doesn't matter who it is who is getting shot at or who almost died. That is still a human life. It's still somebody's life. That is still somebody's family member. That is still somebody who other people care about. You're sick. And no, that was not a message to my viewers because I am so sure that none of you have ever thought that way. That is not a message to any of my viewers or subscribers. I have so much reason to believe in my heart that none of you have ever thought that way, have never thought in a hateful manner like that. I feel like anybody who is actually watching my channel, who is actually here to view this content to hang out with me knows that nothing that I ever say comes from a place of hatred. I feel like anybody who is here on this channel doesn't actually have hate for anybody except for possibly people who hurt kids. At least I would hope so. I sincerely hope so. I don't really know how to end this video off, so I'm just gonna say I love you guys. Please like the video if you like the video. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you dislike the video, and please go down in the comments and trash me because you disliked the video. Like, tell me everything that you think. Like, I want to hear what you guys think down in the comments. I want to have conversations with you guys on this one. I want to know what everybody's views on this are because I am confused. I am angry about a couple of different things, but I am also extremely confused. And I'm not sure if my confusion is warranted, and I am sure that I am being over dramatic and probably extremely worked up and overreacting. But you know what? I overreact a lot and I worry a lot. And I'm allowed to worry a lot. I have earned the right to worry a lot. I have, through life experience, I have earned my right to worry. So, anyway, I love you guys. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye. Mwah.